But first, Labor's public bullying of the Governor was almost bound to do. The Reserve Bank today delivered the first rate cut in the life of the Albanese government after 12 successive rate hikes. The Treasurer Jim Chalmers' warnings to his colleagues not to publicly demand a cut didn't stop a chorus of backbenchers insisting that the bank stop looking at its computers and take a walk down Main Street. Some of them demanded a bigger cut than we actually have got. The truth is, Chalmers didn't try and stop his colleagues bullying the bank because he believes in its independence or because he respects the Governor to do her job without his interference. Not at all. He did it because he didn't want the all but inevitable rate cut to be seen as the result of government pressure. He wanted it to look like it was a reward from the bank for how well he thinks the government's running the economy. And yet it's actually the reverse. Because the fact is, rates are finally going down because of the cost of living crisis and not because this Labor government knows how to run an economy. Indeed, from the beginning, this government has made cost of living pressures worse by its climate-obsessed drive for a renewables-only power system and its union-driven assault on productivity and its inability to control record migration that's putting downward pressure on wages, upward pressure on housing and massive pressure on our infrastructure. On this government's watch, there have been 7 successive quarters of negative economic growth per person. So that's a deep household recession. There's also been a near 10% drop in our living standards and productivity, well, that's back where it was 5 years ago. So is this cut an election game changer that the Prime Minister is so desperate for? Well, no, it's not. It can't be when you think of just how much rates have gone up since the Albanese government came to office.
In the course of the last 2.5 years or so, since interest rates have been rising, a typical Australian household has paid an extra $50,000 in interest rates than they had expected to pay.
Nor does this cut today imply that more cuts are on the way, as the Reserve Bank Governor made very clear in her remarks after the meeting.
Today's decision does not imply that further rate cuts along the lines suggested by the market are coming. The board needs more data and evidence that inflation is continuing to decline before making decisions about the future path of interest rates. The board is very alert to upside risks that could derail the deflationary process.